Today is a warm, sunny day here in southwest Arkansas. 71 degrees and sunny. It's going to be in the 70s all week. Not get down to freezing at night again at all this week. I wanted to get the diamond recovery plant up and running. It's located just outside of the famous Crater of Diamond State Park, and we have our own lamprite processing plant here to recover diamonds from the Worthington Diamond Mine. And I was wanting to get the plant up and running and run some ore today. In preparation for winter, I drained everything really good. I did not want this manifold to break. If that metal froze and broke, I'd be in trouble. But there's a drain valve here. I shut all the water off and drained it last fall. So I thought, okay, we'll be good to get up and running. But I just looked around at the piping. I was hooking up some pipes. Let me show you what I did to drain them. Now, our supply water pond is up there, and the piping comes here. I've run them underground. I rented a trencher when I ran it, but one of the pipes feeding the plant comes here, and I had this dresser fitting to work like a union, and I can undo it and let all the water drain out. So it drained from upstream there, and it drained from this direction. But, oh, this is just an extra pipe here. But I was looking, and apparently because this stump didn't let the water drain, there was a low spot, and this stayed water in it. And this is the power of freezing water. It absolutely shattered this PVC pipe, and it'll break metal just like it shattered this. Look at all these pieces, and the crack continues. It shattered all the way down here, so I've got to replace this pipe all the way down into here and back up here. And I thought, okay, I'll go to the hardware store and see if they've got the parts and pipe that I need. It's 1.25 inches. It's kind of an odd size, but I looked around to make sure there wasn't any other damages that I needed to repair. I mean, if you're going to go get parts, get all the parts you need. Don't make a dozen trips to the hardware store. So I noticed this had also frozen and busted right here, and this crack goes way up the line. What amazes me about this, I don't understand why it didn't drain. Everything is downhill from here. When I took it apart and drained it last fall, I just thought the water would have been out of here. But so I could get glue couplings. I'm a retired plumber, so I can handle this. I put the pipe in myself anyway, but I can cut it here and I can cut it here and glue a section back in with couplings. But to prepare for next winter, I ought to put a dresser fitting in here so I can undo it and let it drain if I've got a problem like this. I don't want it to happen again. And the same here. I'll put one coupling in, a glue coupling, because they're less expensive than the dresser fittings, but then I'll have to put a dresser fitting in as well so that we don't freeze and break again next year. Anyway, that's just some of the heartache of trying to get a diamond recovery plant up and running after a cold winter, but I think springtime is here, warmer weather. We're gonna try to get it up and running. When we feed it into the plant, the finer material falls through this revolving drum at the end of this trommel. That's pretty coarse grading on that. And only the big oversized rocks, like the potato rocks, come down here. Well, the only thing in this pile last fall was potato rocks and larger rocks. Well, you can see it looks like there's a bunch of dirt here. Well, it wasn't dirt until it weathered this winter. So these were the big oversized chunks of lamprite that wouldn't fall down through that grate. So this was all big chunks. But during the winter, it weathered. It got sun, air, and rain. And then when these big clumps of lamprite got wet and they froze and they busted apart, just like the pipes bust apart. So I'm going to scoop this up and run it all back through, because any diamond inside those potato-sized clumps of lamperite could not get out in my earlier process. Well, now that it has been broken down by nature, by getting wet and freezing and busting apart, any diamonds in that would be liberated. So I'll scoop it all up in buckets, feed it back in, and these hard jasper rocks will still come out, but the lamperite will fall through, and if there's any diamonds, then this lower recovery plant will catch it. So that's the plan. Well, off to the hardware store. There's work to be done.